We begin our talk with Pranam Mantra. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Okay, thank you. So we begin our talk on being Hindu. The topic is being Hindu. So you can enlarge it now. So there are a lot of misconceptions regarding Hindu religion. There are three major reasons for it. Three major reasons, as has been sent to you. First is objectification, or you can say calcification of religious practices. This is extremely rampant in other religions. In other religions, you will see that they will say that it's in their book. There is a very famous saying in Islam, Al-Kitab. Al-Kitab means that which is written in the book. So this is some kind of objectification. So people think, Hindus think that, and critics of Hindus think that whatever practices we are into, they are also written in some book. Like sometimes I come across complaints. Is Rama mentioned in the Vedas? If not, then how can he be God? See, people make the mistake of confusing religious practices with what is written in one single book. That's not how Hindu religion works. Let me tell you a very wonderful story about one wonderful story from Mahabharata. This is a very popular story which most of you must be knowing, that when the Pandavas, the five brothers, they were in the forest, exiled. There was an episode when five brothers went to get some water, and they took water, they all fell unconscious. And then there was Yudhishthir, who encountered one Yaksh. Yaksh is a demigod. And there were a series of question answers. And I'll see if we can cover that Yaksha present. It's a beautiful episode. There, Yaksha asks, Kah Pantha? What's the way? That means, how do you define religious practices? Because there are so many sacred books and so many sages, and they all say different things. And Yudhishthir beautifully replies, Mahajano yena gata sa pantha. The path is that through which the greats have walked. It's a very, very, very important statement. And this is repeated in Gita too. That yadyat acharati shrestha. Those who are respected in a society, whatever they do is practiced by the masses. Now, if a film star is doing something, that doesn't mean that we will be following that. We are discussing here spiritual practices. So what Swami Vivekananda did, we can practice that. This is a very important thing. So Hindu religion is not an objectified code. That means our codes do not come either from the Ved or from the Manusmriti. It's a highly dynamic thing. Certain principles are intact and the practices are dynamic. So please keep this in mind. If you say, where from did you get it? No, I didn't get it in any book. I studied it. I studied the lives of the greats, and from there I formulated. And that's why if you listen to these talks, you'll find some of those ideas which you may not find in any book. And yet you will find no book contradicts these. Second is objectification of God as and spiritual truths. So this also comes from the same idea of Al-Kitab. If it is mentioned in the book, then it's true. Otherwise, no. No, that's not what happens. As we mentioned, God is infinite, and this infinity is not the infinite of physics or mathematics, or as we understand, large. It simply means that infinite. Every mind will perceive it differently. And this presentation of spiritual truths by various sages. That's why we have so many books, as we shall see. So, if you are serious about understanding this Indian spiritual heritage, please keep this in mind that under no condition you should think that either God or spiritual truths or religious practices are to be objectified, because object is perceived by the mind. So it is within our tendencies to think that there will be one God, there will be single practice. No, that's not true. We Hindus, we don't go by these principles. So now, if you have so many sacred books, if you have so many practices, if there have been so many sages, practice what? Practice strictly what your guru has said. Say, for example, I am into these things. Naturally, I read different books. Not read, I have studied these books and I continue to study. So, do I practice all those things? No, I don't. I'll practice strictly what my guru said. My favorite example is, you have some disease. So just now we had the gynecologist, Dr. Aruma Shukla. Ask her, you have some problem. You go to a hospital. Do you say that whatever medicine is here in the hospital, pump inside me, and whatever surgical instruments you have, apply on me? No, you don't. You go to a doctor, doctor diagnoses you and prescribes a medicine. You go strictly by that. You don't say, why don't you give me that medicine? Why didn't you apply that scalpel? No, you don't. If you go to a restaurant, you don't say that whatever food you have, give to me. No, that's not how it works. Same with Hindu religion. You don't go practicing anything that appeals to your mind. You will study everything. Try to know as much as you can, because that gives your mind huge expanse. Your mind becomes very powerful. But when it comes to practices, you will practice strictly what your spiritual guru has said. Now, if you say that you don't have a spiritual guru yet, we have one of our young listeners, Gaurav Rai Mandal. He's a lovely boy. He's just in class 11. And so, because he doesn't have a guru yet, he himself coins things. No, that's not how things work. Because when you pick up something from a book, it's like taking up a bullet, say a rifle bullet, and throwing at somebody. And when those words come from the mouth of a guru, from your spiritual teacher, it's like releasing that bullet from the barrels of a rifle. The killing power will be instantaneous. Just remember this. So, for God's sake, don't nibble here and there just simply because Vedanta sounds so grand, so in thing. Advaita sounds so wonderful. Somebody was telling, "Oh, I am naturally inclined to Advaita." I laughed loudly. Advaita. Do you understand a word of Advaita? In fact, I once met one of famous speakers, and I was talking about Advaita in the public. He said, "My God, till now I thought Advaita means one." Advait means beyond one. When we discuss Advait, we will explain that. See, even the teachers do not know what Advait truly means, because they have not studied Shankaracharya properly. So, well, and as a starting point to caution you, we will just be discussing the basic things about Hindu way of life. What makes you a Hindu? Or if somebody wants to know someone from other religion, how can Hindus be defined? Actually, Hindus cannot be defined. The best way to define Hindus is neti neti, not this, not this. You are not a Christian, you are not a Muslim, you are not a Buddha. So ultimately, what remains is Hindu. It's that way. It's something like Nirgun Nirakar Brahman, neti neti. Hindu is something like that. However, there are some common practices which we are making here in Hindu religion, Hindu society, Hindu practices. The most important thing is Life is treated at three different levels. First is to make a person noble, which we will be seeing in the next talk. Making people religious, those who are noble. First, be a gentleman, and from there you become a religious person, and from there a spiritual person. Now if you say that I am not a noble person, I don't want to be a noble person, yet I want to be spiritual, it simply means that you are not fit for anything. You are a misfit in the society. And if you say that I don't want to be religious and yet I want to be spiritual, it simply means that you are not fit for spiritual life, because in every spiritual life there will be some practices, some do's and some don'ts. These do's and don'ts make religion. You don't have to practice everything of a religion. Like in some religion, there are simple practices. Like in Islam, there are 5 practices. Hinduism doesn't run like that. Yet, there are some practices that need to be done, which is very important. Now, how these things are determined, as you will see in your paper, it's about idea of who am I? Who am I? Who are you? Well, our Ramana Maharshi is such a great saint. He made this statement so popular, who am I? And nowadays some speakers are also trying to make it popular. The idea of I exists in every beings. When it comes to living beings, any living being, it has a sense of idea, howsoever rudimentary that might be. Here we concern only with ourselves. That means the human beings, because we can think absolutely clearly. When you identify yourself with your body, if you are identifying yourself with your body, it's known as Deh Atman. Deh means body. You consider your I sense is confined to the body. That means you need to focus more on being noble. Second is those who focus themselves more on Jivatman. Jivatman is the transmigratory soul, the soul that is inside you. Now, if you believe in it, then you can do religious practices. Religious practices are meant for people who accept Jivatman. If you say that I want to be a Hindu, but I don't want to believe in its religious practices, it simply means that you believe your body to be the ultimate truth. In that case, just try to be noble, as we shall see how to be noble. But if you believe that you are like Dr. Konar pointed out, I don't believe in rebirth. It simply means that you don't believe in any soul. That means you just be a noble. And Hinduism has something for them too. In fact, Hinduism believes in first making a noble, then religious, and finally spiritual. And if you are spiritual, you will believe God to be the ultimate truth. Atman to be the ultimate truth. Nothing else matters. That is Atman as pure consciousness. Now, what is the test? What kind of person you are? Do you like any kind of food? Are you fussy about your food? Are you fussy about your drink? Are you interested in visiting places? Are you interested in your relatives? It simply means that you are more on the Atman side. That means me as body, I as body is more powerful in you. If you have gone beyond all this, you think mostly about God. You mostly think about doing good to others, being good, etc. You are more of religious. And but if you are that kind that I don't want anything from this world, I just want to get out of everything. In Vedanta Sar, it beautifully says, as if your hair is on fire. If your hair catches fire, how will you behave? If that is the kind of feeling you have towards the world, you want to just get out of it, then you are the spiritual kind. The spiritual kind doesn't look kindly at their body or at anyone else's body. They do not look kindly at family relations, friends. Like Swami Vivekananda, when he's left home, his family had nothing to eat. His family was starving. He just dropped everything. You can go on criticizing him, that's a different matter. But it's Swami Vivekananda who gave shape to the present day Hindu religion. Shankaracharya, same thing. Any great person has to do it. Every spiritually great. Jesus Christ, he did the same thing. When you go all out for God, means you don't care for your body, you don't care for food, you don't care for your drinks, you don't care for family, you don't care for relationship, you don't care for anything, and say, I want God and God alone. Sri Ramakrishna gives a very beautiful example of a baby crying for her mom. When a baby cries for her mom, she is not going to be calmed by any other means. Try giving a doll to a crying baby, she will throw it away. When you are like that about God, about self realization, only then you can be spiritual. The gentleman who was asking what is spirituality and religious, this is the difference. In case of religious, you say that, okay, fine, I need family also, I need friends also, I need my body also, but that's not everything. I want to be good, do good by keeping my God at the center. You are religious. And all the sacred books are essentially about being religious. All the sacred books, in every religion, because spirituality is taught in one sentence: love God. As Jesus said, you are Brahman, as Upanishads say. Spirituality is learned in one sentence: nobility requires ethics, social practices, penal code, etc. And all the sacred books of every religion aims at making a person religious. I hope I am clear. Can anyone say if I am clear? If I'm not clear, please let me know. Just a sec. Any questions? Sanjeev Sinha, you listen to lots of my talks, so you will say perfectly clear. Oh, Miss Jayadas, I don't know her. So she says clear, that means clear. Thank you so much. Harisom Dwivedi has also. Okay, fine, we continue. So, how Hindu Dharma looks at life, as we mentioned, it very clearly says, which is very, very, very important: Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. We explained in the earlier talk. Dharma, Artha, Kama. When you are focusing only on wealth and enjoyment, it means you are more focused on your body. And when you say Dharma, you want to get, say, Kumbh Mela, you want to go to a different pilgrimage. It means you have religious tendencies. This is known as Dharma. Dharma is a technical term here. It has nothing to do with Hindu Dharma and Isai Dharma like that. Dharma means doing noble acts according to scriptures, which we will be detailing as we proceed. Now, some of those points are given in your paper, and I'll request you to read where it describes that be spiritual means to get rid of every kind of world, including heaven. That is moksha. For a devotee, being with God is known as moksha. More of it when we discuss spiritual practices. And there are some of these points how Hinduism looks at life. Most important is life is valued extremely in Hindu religion. And it says that your body is the ultimate vehicle to take you across anything. If you have any problems in life, it means you're not taking care of your body properly. Take care of your body. Like we monks, we have no support. No one is going to look after me if something goes wrong with me. I gave up my family 45 years ago. Who is going to look after me? I don't have many friends, and the friends who are there, they might give me some money, 2,000, 5,000, nothing more than that. Who will look after me? No one. So we have to be very careful about body. That means my consciousness, that means my awareness is not focused on my body. Yet, body has to be treated as sacred, as precious. It's something like, when you're crossing a river, you take help of a boat. You have to be very careful about boat. Because if there is a hole in the boat sinks and you sink. If you want to be religious, you will need this body. You want to be spiritual, you will need this body. You want to enjoy the world, you will need this body. So, body has to be treated as precious, as sacred, knowing very well that it is just a vehicle to take me across. You may have a wonderful train journey where you're going to some place. So you don't say that the journey was so good that I'll keep seated in the train. No, you have to devote. You have to get off. You have to move on. Body is exactly like that. Keep this in mind. And this is what Hindu religion teaches you. And I'll advise you to read the paper. It's nothing much. Now, being Hindu, see, this is this has been worked out by me, and you'll find in my book The Hindu Way. As I said, unlike other religions, we don't have a code. However, there are some practices which are common to every Hindu. So we have one of the listeners from Mauritius. He also says that he has the same practices. If you go to South India, go to North India, go to East India, go to West India, these practices are more or less common. And I have given you a wonderful sentence here, spiritually applied to mental orientation. So there is core spirituality, and spirituality applied to society becomes a religion. To your mental orientation becomes your personal beliefs and practices. Hinduism gives you leeway, lots of freedom. Choose what you like. It's tailor made. It's not like a ready made thing that, well, this is what is, and you have to fit into it. Here, things get adjusted. For example, sometimes people come to me asking for something. I tell what that person is capable of doing. It's not that everyone has to do these things, that thing. Like when we were in school, we used to have physical training and drills. Everybody had to do the same thing, the way police personnel do drill or military do the drill. No, it's not that. There's a lot of freedom. However, there are certain things common. First thing, every Hindu accepts that the Vedas are eternal. They are the ultimate sacred books of the Hindus. But you don't have to read the Vedas, as we will explain later. God is worshipped in any form, also without form. Now, nowadays, there are some sects, they say Krishna alone is God. It simply means they don't understand Hindu religion. Sectarian practices, these are sectarian, like in South India, there are people who are Vaishnavites. They say Vishnu is everything. And there are Shaivites, they will say Shiva is everything. No, no, this is not full form of Hindu religion. These are the sectarian practices. There is nothing wrong with sectarian practices. But that is not the whole of it. We believe, every Hindu, practicing Hindu, believes that our reality is Jivatman, the soul that transmigrates. And the power is provided to this transmigrating soul by the psychic forces created by karma. Acts that you do. These acts are physical, verbal, and mental. Whatever work you do, they leave an impression on your mind. And Jivatman is also known as Sukshma Sharir, subtle body. When Atman identifies itself with mind, not with body. When Atman identifies itself with body, it becomes the Atman, as we are. When it stays identified only with the mind and certain other things, this is known as Jivatman. It is this body that transmigrates. This body will disintegrate, the other one will continue. So every Hindu believes in karma and rebirth. We will explain it in the next talks. What's the meaning of karma? What's the meaning of rebirth? You will say that I don't want to believe. It doesn't matter. It makes no difference. I'm just stating you what it means to be a Hindu. Then Gita, Gaya, Ganga, Gayatri, and Guru. These are considered to be sacred. By every Hindu, you go to any place, you'll find that these things are common. Gita is considered to be a sacred book because it's the essence of all the sacred books that India has. That's why I advise you to read Arohan. Gaya. Gaya is very important because Pindadan, the last rites of your ancestors, is performed here. Last rites are at three stages. One is when the body is cremated, there is a Shraddha ceremony. And then every year there is a Tarpan ceremony on certain dates. But once you go to Gaya and offer Pind, the last rites, the ancestors are now free and you are also free of your ancestors. So Gaya is common to every Hindu. Then Ganga. I mean, Ganga, you can go on talking about Ganga and there is no end to it. Uh, People say, is Ganga mentioned in Ved? Yes, yes, yes. What happened, Harisom Dwivedi? Don't raise your hands in between. Anyway, see what he wants to say. Yes, Harisom? You raised your hand. Was it by mistake or you really wanted to know something? Can't see you where you are. I think it must be by mistake. Forget it. Uh, Please be careful. Huh? If the class gets disturbed, we all get disturbed. So, Ganga, we believe that if you take a sip of water, it was by mistake. Thank you. So, for example, even me, I'm a staunch Advaitin, I'm a staunch Vedantin. But after bath, every day I sprinkle Ganga water on myself because we believe that it purifies me. Advaitin doesn't mean that they don't practice rituals. Advaitins practice lots of rituals. Even Shankaracharya used to practice lots of rituals. Nowadays, this has become fashionable to say that, oh, I am an Advaiti, I don't practice rituals. Swami Vivekananda also practiced rituals, and there cannot be a greater Advaitin than Sri Ramakrishna. He was deep into rituals. Advaita cannot be without rituals. They have their own rituals. Anyway, I sprinkle Ganga water every day and I take Jagannath ji's prasad, Puri, Jagannath ji's Atke prasad, dried rice every day. I am very that way ritualistic. Then Gayatri. Gayatri is universal and we will have one talk exclusively dedicated to Gayatri. And Gayatri is considered to be sacred. It can be recited by anyone. It can be chanted by anyone. And Guru. Guru plays a very important role. Guru is seen as God himself because he shows you the path to spiritual realization. The explanations are pretty simple and these are given in the paper that we have given you. Then there are two very important things. One is 5 dates, Panch Mahayagya. The technical term for it is Panch Mahayagya. We had mentioned Yaksha Prashna. In the same Yaksha Prashna, Yaksha, the demigod, asks Yudhishthir, who is a dead person, even though breathing? And Yudhishthira replies, one who does not perform Panch Mahayagya, 5 dates. These 5 dates are known as the paper has been provided to you. There it's mentioned. First is Brahma Yagya. Sometimes it is also known as Rishi Yagya. The culture that you got as a Hindu has come from the sages. You need to repay. How? By regular meditation and regular studying of scriptures. You remember Dr. Ruma Shukla in the beginning said, she recites the sacred books. It belongs to Brahma Yagya. It belongs to Rishi Yagya. The second one is Dev Yagya. Dev Yagya is about performing puja, performing daily worship at home or visiting some temple. Dev Yagya. Third one is Pitri Yagya. You have debts towards your ancestors because they gave you this body. The body that you have has come from your ancestors. You must perform daily Pitri Yagya. This is performed by placing small amount of the food that you have been taking the outside of your plate on something, and then give it to the birds, etc., to take. It's just to remind you that you are indebted to your ancestors. Yearly, Tarpan is done on Mahalaya Day. That is when this Devi Paksh begins and Pitri Paksh ends. That on that day, Tarpan is performed by every Hindu in the name of the ancestors. And of course, you go to Gaya to offer Pind, the sacred offering in the name of your ancestors. The fourth is Manushya Yagya, also known as Nri Yagya. Society takes care of you, society protects you. So, you have to feed guests who come to your house. You have to make gift to beggars, the poor. You have to make charity in the name of just thinking that you're indebted to the society. And the last is Bhoot Yagya. Many of you must be non-vegetarian. Your life is sustained because some are giving their lives to keep you alive. For example, in Bengal, eating fish is a very normal thing. Many fish die simply to keep a person alive. Similarly, people love mutton and chicken and all those things. And apart from that, when farming is done, lots of insects die. When we breathe, lots of bacteria and virus die. When we catch some kind of fever, we have to kill those bacteria. So we survive because many others die. We are indebted to them. And our life must not go west. Our life must not go west because so many have contributed in our life. That's why we need to focus on higher ideals. Do something for the society. Do something for those whom you have exploited, sometimes knowingly, mostly unknowingly. This is known as Bhoot Yagya. For that, sometimes cows are fed, stray dogs are fed, birds are fed, like that. So these are known as Panch Mahayagya. Every Hindu performs it. And if you have not been performing it, start it right away. Then there are 10 sanskaras. Sanskaras mean uniting yourself with God, with the divine. Because it's believed that by nature we are soul, pure. But when we come to this world, we acquire impurity. This impurity has to be cleaned at regular interval. And these purities cannot be cleaned simply by bathing, chanting, etc. So in the Vedic period, there used to be 64 sanskaras. Sanskara means sacrament. Sacraments means the acts that purify you. In Manusmriti, which is the most authentic book on these religious practices, religious course, and social practices, we have 16, but now it has come down to 10. In my book, The Hindu Way, you'll find these 10 mentioned. And the paper that has been sent to you, there also the description of these 10 sanskaras are given. I'm just mentioning them in very simple form. That first is Garbhadhan. Garbhadhan means when you when you want to have a child, you must pray. And there are religious rites related to that. And Jata Karma, when a baby is born, some rituals are performed. Then you have Namakaran, naming ceremony. Then you have Annaprashan. Then there is Chuda Karma, that is first this tonsuring, you remove the hair. Then there is Upanayan, sacred thread. Now, question is, can non-Brahmins have sacred thread? Of course. Now everybody in India is a Brahmin. Whatever they might be doing for marriages and whatever they might be doing for their jobs, that's irrelevant. We are talking from the spiritual standpoint. Can females have? In fact, one of my friends wanted his daughter to have sacred thread. And I said, yes, yes. So he went to one priest and he very kindly agreed to give sacred thread and Gayatri Mantra and said, but please do not show it to others. No, it's not common thing. But you can have. Don't have your sacred thread because Manusmriti says that when A young lady, when a girl gets married, that covers all these sanskaras. That means Upanan, etc., is covered in that. But if you want, you can have it, nothing wrong with it. Then there is our Vivaha. Vivaha is not a social thing, Vivaha is a religious thing because it purifies you. Otherwise, whatever you do is just plain sex. And that's not permitted in Hindu religion or in any religion or even in any society, it's not permitted. Marriage sanctifies certain relations. Now, we are not worried about what the modern society says and what these people, somewhere they asked me, what is your idea about live-in relationship? I said it has taken us thousands of years to evolve from the state of animals to being humans. Now, you want to take humans to the animal level within one generation, take it. Not my job. I'm out of it. I'm a monk. I don't care. Whether you are living in live-in relation or in sleep-in relation or in stay-in relation, it's your headache. Do whatever you want. Not my headache. However, if you want to be human beings away from animals, there is constitution for that. And if you want to be godly beyond being human being, then practice religion. And if you want to be divine, practice spirituality. Choice is yours. Whether you want to be human or godly or divine or animal is your choice. What can we say? If whole of India tomorrow decides to be animal-like, be. Not my headache. I'm out of it. I have a few years more to live. And I hope that I get mukti and I'm out of all this mess. Not my headache. And even if I am reborn, I'm surely not going to be an animal-like creature. No doubt about it. So choice is yours. Your headache. So in Vivaha, arranged marriage, even love marriage is permitted as Gandharva Vivaha. Nothing wrong with it. If Gandharva Vivaha is permitted, why do you want to have live-in relation? But anyway, your choice. Then one is Garhastya. See, Vivaha, marriages, and Garhastha, these are two different sacraments, two different sanskara. In Garhastha, you take vows that you will now be living like a perfect householder. And finally, there is sannyas. It's expected that every Hindu at one point of time will get into dignified withdrawal mode. Dignified withdrawal. You will withdraw from the world. You will devote your mind exclusively to God. You will not be chasing wealth. You will not be chasing social pleasures, material pleasures. You will devote more time to God. Well, that's what Hindu ideals have been and are still practiced, And last is Antyeshti. When a person dies, you cremate the body. With that, sanskar ends, and the important Shraddha ceremony, it is for the next generation. Pindadan, etc., is meant for the next generation. And we mentioned that Gita, Ganga, etc., Gita is recited daily. This we have mentioned. And just a second. So, 10 sanskaras and 5 dates. These are the unique things about Hindu religion. So, but these cannot be codified. If you go by the common practices of all the Hindus, you'll find that these things are common. So, this is in short, stop it. Dear whosoever, now, rituals is not my strength, okay? Rituals are, I mentioned it many times. When it comes to social things, ask your parliament. When it comes to rituals, ask the local priests, local pandas. That's not my strength. When it comes to spirituality, I am explaining the dynamics of spirituality when applied to the society, number one, and when applied to mental orientation. Now, which priest told you what, which panda told you what, please, please have some understanding. Have some understanding. Behave in a mature way. Well, so that was in brief the idea about what makes you a Hindu. I gave you that there are certain things which are common to Hindus, although these are not quite codified, but I codified it. And you will find that in the Hindu Way book. And Panch Mahayagya and at least 10 sanskar. If you cannot practice all 10, at least practice 7, 8 of them. These things are common to all the Hindus. That is what makes you a Hindu. The next talk will explain what it takes to be a noble Hindu, what it takes to be a religious Hindu, what it takes to be a spiritual Hindu. Thank you so much. Any questions related to what we discussed? Do not come with your personal things, okay? If you have any doubt about what I said, please ask. I'll explain. Remember, I am supposed to teach core spirituality. One. Number two, I'll explain spirituality applied to the society. Number three, I'll explain spirituality applied to your mental orientation. But if there are some individual issues, that's not my concern. You are learning, learn well, study well, be a lamp unto others. Buddha had said, Atta Dipo Bhava. I am telling, Paradipo Bhava. Be light unto others. Hinduism is at crossroads. Hinduism is being explained in the dirtiest, nastiest, foulest possible way. It is your responsibility to learn and spread the words. Take up the responsibility. Don't shirk. Do not come with your individual problems, individual questions. Bas. Be great. Help others be great. Okay,
Yes,
Biplav
Maharaj.
says, liking the subject. If you're liking the subject, do send a mail at isshrkmveri@gmail.com. Yes, Saurabh, looks like you have many questions, or probably you are not able to put your hand down.
Yes, Maharaj. I want to ask if I want to by heart the Gita and I don't know Sanskrit, how should I like start?
You read Arohan. I'm repeatedly telling you, read Arohan. You don't need to know Sanskrit to read Gita. Like there are many websites which have given transliteration. If you know English, you can read Gita. There are transliterations, it's there. In Ved Vihangam also, transliteration is given by which, by the help of which you can read Ved, read Gita. If you are not reading Gita, it's simply your laziness. You have time to go through social media, you have time to socialize, but you have no time to search if Gita is available in English translation book. And there was Edwin Arnold, during Swami Vivekananda's time. He translated Gita in English wonderfully. Read that. Song Celestial. But no, when it comes to social practices, when it comes to socializing, social media, people are active. The moment it comes to Gita, Swamiji, I don't know Sanskrit. Swamiji, I cannot understand. There are so many things. Do something. Just check. Gita has been translated wonderfully by Edwin Arnold hundreds of years ago. And they are available in transliterated form. Translated means English is used in a particular way. It's there. And you don't need to know Sanskrit to understand Gita because it's now available in every language, and more than one translation. Saurav, you are just being lazy, nothing more than that. And lazy people have lots of questions. Oh, Dr. Thank you, Vikramjit Singh. Comprehensible. Okay. Now, as I can see, all sanskar are not applicable to. Actually, yes, not Dr. Vikramjit Singh, you are right. Because Vivah and Sannyas, you are correct. For example, Sannyasis don't do Vivaha. It's not applicable to everybody. Sannyas is also not applicable. So we had one concept of Vanaprastha, but dignified withdrawal is common. I just mentioned that the common practices that are done. Sannyasis do not go through Vivaha, Garhast, etc. Okay, any question? Any other question? If not, we will wrap up. Okay. Thank you so much. We meet next week and we will explain what it means to be a noble Hindu, a religious Hindu, and a spiritual Hindu. Thank you.